Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Kontiki Rugby. Good to see you all. Kamataka and Special K. You look very different today with the haircut. Special K, what's the occasion?
The occasion is the greatest final that's ever been in the World Cup. That's the occasion. Who do I look like?
You look like King Jong-un, Just say. It's the haircut. It's the haircut.
I'm going to take you off.
Yeah, no, it's been an awesome week, awesome lead up to this finale, and the greatest rivalry in rugby history, really, when you think about it. The old foes, All Blacks, and the Springboks. And haven't we been waiting for this for the past, I don't know, when was the last time? Since 1995. This is the rematch that we've all been waiting for. And nobody's getting sick. Nobody's throwing up on the side of the. Hopefully, nobody's going to be throwing up and getting poisoned.
We're going to be throwing up. I think myself and Obi.
Boy,
just the excitement level.
Okay. Kamataka, the poster behind you.
Yes,
that's the whole story right there.
Yes,
I know that poster was made before the World Cup started, but look,
right.
Look at the two teams right in the middle.
That's right. All Blacks, South Africa in the finals, 8 a.m. in Paris. Right.
Oh, so what do you think of the semifinals? How's the semifinals? So let's talk about New Zealand and Argentina. What a game! Do you think how exciting was the game? I don't think it was a very exciting game for myself. Watching the game, it was more or less like a captain's run for New Zealand. What do you think?
Yeah, the game was over by halftime, mate. The game was over by halftime, and maybe Will Jordan should have had 4 tries instead of 3 if Mola had passed that ball.
Yeah,
he could have broken the record. But no, it seemed like a training run for the All Blacks, and I think the Argentinians it was one game too much, one game too many. Sorry for them, and Wales would probably be happy about the fact that it was the Argentinians and not them.
Yeah. Do you think Wales would have done better if they were in their position? Special K, do you think Wales could have done better if they were playing New Zealand?
Hurry up and move on with this. What's your point there? Wales and Argentina. We can't leave it yesterday.
I'm just saying.
They had the chance.
Let's talk about defense. Let's talk about tactics and also exit games. I know what Argentina was a better team out of the two that came up. They beat Wales. They deserved to be there. But I think the level of the game, you just watch. There's 2 different class of games being played on that day. Well, am I telling lies here, or what? King Jong-un, did they play rugby in North Korea?
Well, as you said, I think Argentina just played. What would you say? As you said, Kawataka, they played one more extra game that they shouldn't have played.
Yeah. How about England and South Africa? How good was the game?
Yeah, Now that game, that semi-final, it was a rematch of the finals back in 2019. So, what a rematch that was! Obviously, England coming in as the underdogs, and they played like underdogs in the old-fashioned English way, like bulldogs, just like scraping for every inch, kicking the hell out of the ball. Actually, when we look at the stats, I think they had 41 kicks in play. I mean, that is ridiculous. Compared to South Africa's 29 kicks. England won the kicking game. In fact, they won the meanest game.
I was watching Manchester United, and they only kicked the ball 20 times playing football and soccer.
And, unfortunately for the English, they should have won that game. That was the one that got away. And
they played better than South Africa.
It was those scrums at the end.
South Africa only played the last 24 minutes, and that's why they won.
Yeah.
But, it's just how rugby is.
Yeah.
I thought the South Africans was going to come and just maul them over through their forwards and stuff. But New Zealand England fought back. They actually matched the scrums. They actually made it hard for South Africa to actually win that game. I was surprised that they did win that game.
Yeah.
I don't know what's his plan, eh?
So I was cheering for England in the first. South Africa in the first half, and then by the second half, I realized, wait a minute. England can actually do this, because I was expecting South Africa to make a comeback, like maybe early in the late into the first half and early into the second half, but England held them off, and England had most of the territory game in the last 10 minutes. England had the last about 73% of the territory in the last 10 minutes, right? But it was those crucial scrums. Can we just talk about Russy? I mean, he's got to be like the best coach on the planet right now.
I think he's part Fijian. He's from my village up in the Highlands.
Yeah. I mean, those substitutions, right?
He can speak English, so it's not from your village.
Those substitutions were just like a stroke of genius, right? He brought out Lebok after half an hour, knowing full well that Lebok's not up for this game, you know? And then he started just systematically putting in people where he thought there was weakness. As soon as he saw weakness, he subbed them straight off. Pollard came in and he just steered that ship with his kicking game, ran that back line, and the forwards. I got to say the tight head props that came on and just did a job. And unfortunately for the English, they did not match up when their subs came on. Yeah. Unfortunately, I would have hoped that Mala stayed in there for a little bit longer, Joe Mala, but man, Bogey came out and just like scrummed the hell out of Sinclair, and that's where you got that penalty right in the last 3 minutes of the game. But if it wasn't for a mark that was taken by the fullback, in which they called for a scrum, you see, so they brought all the Englishmen back in, right, the forward pack, and then they kicked it, and then the fullback, all he had to do was kick it back, right? But he decided to do an up and under and knock the ball on, which gave a platform for that scrum. Yeah. Man, what's his name? Freddie Stewart, or what is his name? Freddie, the fullback for England. He was doing so well, and then he dropped that last ball 3 minutes to go that gave them and that's when they knew that the Springboks really targeted that scrum, and that's where the game was won. Amazing! It was one of the best semifinals I've ever seen ever.
That was awesome. Just
sorry, just had to get it out there.
No. I mean, specifically, what is your thoughts on the game? Did you even watch the game?
I'm telling you, I've still got it in my mind. I can tell you specifically second to second.
Okay, no.
What panned out.
Maybe not.
But I'm like Lava Kawataka. That would have been one of the greatest semifinals ever in the World Cup. Wonderful. My commiserations to England. But what a game.
But then now we're going to talk about the finals, New Zealand and South Africa. Now, I'm just waiting for the Springboks to put their team out. Would you, if you're a coach of South Africa, would you play Lombok, or would you play Pollard first up? Kawataka, who would you play first? Lombok? Would you play Lombok in the first half, or would you play Pollard in the first half?
Yeah, no, I think I would play. I would play to the conditions, really, because if it's raining again, like it was during semi-finals time last week, then I think I would put Pollard in there. But I think even if it was raining, I would like to see Lebok have a go to match the All Blacks' expensive style of play. If Lebok can get his kicking right, if he can get his mind right, but I would like to know that there's a backup there in Pollard. The real issue is because they know that their forwards are going to tire out. So do they go for a 6-2 split or 5-3 split? Because they won't do the 7-1 split like they did in Twickenham, or who knows? It's Russy, but which means if they do go for the 6-2 split, they'd have to have Pollard and a halfback, and that's it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in the centers, pretty much fullback first five can cover each other, but in the centers, you got David Williamson can come in and at fullback and cover the. But Willie LaRue, when he came on against England, he showed his class and his experience right there. He was barking out orders. He was G'ing up the the South African forward pack, telling them this is where we win the game, right? And he was the one that called for that mark, right? And so, you're gonna have to leave him out if you go for a 6-2 split, unless you decide to go with Pollard and just leave Lebok out of it altogether. And then you've got a halfback and LaRue as your two backs, because I think they're going to need their 6 forwards, to be honest, because the All Black forward pack is going to run them ragged. And I feel like South Africa have come through with a much harder semi-final match, so they'll be more fatigued, I think, than the All Blacks.
It's okay. What do you think Russia will do?
Man, nobody knows what Russy will do. But I can tell you what, Russy has been waiting for this opportunity against. Well, you know what? There's nothing better to play rugby if you're representing the All Blacks and representing South Africa, Springboks, than to play a World Cup final at this time. I just think that everybody here is revving to play, and All Blacks is going to grow another inch. They're going to go to another level. The Springboks. I think this is going to be one of the greatest games that we'll ever see. But Russy is Russy. I don't think we can guess what he's going to do.
The last time New Zealand won the World Cup was in 2015, right? 2015 was the last one, and then 2019 was when South Africa won the World Cup. It came out in one of the interviews during the week. Russy was saying, like, for them winning the 2019 World Cup was a fluke, because Russy was using the 2019 World Cup as a building phase to win this World Cup. They were more concentrated for this World Cup than they did on the 2019. 2019 was them just trying to build a team.
That's mind games, though. That's mind games there.
I know. But this idea was to win this World Cup. So them winning that World Cup, I was like, man, who is this guy kidding? Eh? It's like you won a World Cup 2019. I'm
How
sure
can you win a World Cup as a fluke?
Yeah. Well, think about it. Both South Africa and the All Blacks have both won 3 World Cups each, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, 90% of the World Cup finals have been won by Southern Hemisphere teams, predominantly South Africa and the All Blacks. Yeah, there was a time for Australia, but,
next 4 years.
Exactly, next 4 years. So, and you could say that maybe one of those World Cups didn't count because South Africa wasn't in the first World Cup, in the 87 World Cup, maybe so South Africa's leading it. But what would it be, for South Africa? How would they feel knowing that they could go back to back with World Cups just like the All Blacks did, And so this is
that's a lot of motivation there for them to.
Yeah, this is gonna be a game for the ages, mate. Like I'm just so excited for it.
But look at the All Blacks as well. We have 9 players that could be playing the last World Cup and potentially last game for the All Blacks as well.
I think that the All Blacks are going to peak right next game.
Right.
Even though he's a genius, Russ, but I think they've peaked early. They didn't play too good against England. The best game was probably better against France.
Yeah.
And I think it's a downhill. So we'll see. I think that's going to be counter to them in what their World Cup campaign.
Again, seriously, I think Russ, I know I use this word a lot when it comes to South Africa. I think he's still experimenting again. He knew he was going to beat England. I want to try something out when I beat New Zealand in the finals. Try this guy in, take him for half an hour.
Yeah.
Put blood in there, and maybe put the forwards in the substitution for the forwards a bit later. That they normally used to come in 50 minutes.
Yeah.
Them in 60 minutes, a bit later. See how they go.
Yeah.
That could be a plan, like to prepare for New Zealand. And New Zealand, did you see in the last 5 minutes, they only opted to play 14 men. Preparation. If something happens, 14 men. Man,
they had that game in the bag. They didn't want all the hothead.
But this is a different kettle of fish.
Yeah.
This grand final here. There's no more experimenting. Take that word out of your vocabulary and put it next to the rubbish bin beside you there, Obi. No more experimenting now. This is the real deal.
No more, eh? No more.
Yeah.
But the 2 best teams are in the finals right now.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at the pathway that South Africa had, right? South Africa had Ireland, Scotland, a physical Tongan team, right? And then France, and then England. I mean, that's a road to hell, really. I mean, if they win this World Cup, right? If they come out victors at the end, I mean, the pathway that they took was a tremendous pathway that they could have easily lost, and they were all and quarterfinals out. Even in the pool matches, those were all close games. Yes, the All Blacks, they lost 1 game, right? But they knew, going to the other games that they could win those games easily, right? You could say that, they had only 1 good game against France to prepare for Ireland. They had 3 weeks really to prepare for Ireland, right? They beat Ireland, and then they pretty much had a rest against Argentina, right? So, they're fresh as daisies.
Yeah.
Whereas the South Africans, they're coming off. They've just gone through fire to get to where they are, and I just think they're going to tire out probably in the 60th, 70th minute unless they can find something, right? Unless Russy works his magic again, all right, and finds something to get the box home, because that display that Russy put forward, like people thought that he was panicking, right? But he was moving it almost seemed like Borthwick was playing checkers while while Russy was playing chess. You know what I mean? Russy was just luring him in with his pawns, right? And then boom, checkmate. You know,
it's amazing as well. Like these two teams both lost in full games.
Yeah.
Like New Zealand lost his first game, South Africa lost to Ireland, and voila, they're both in the finals again.
Yeah, first time.
I think the first ever team that has ever lost a full game and won the final is South Africa. And now we have two teams that has done that.
Yeah. I mean, you could say it goes to show that the Northern Hemisphere teams are becoming stronger, but not strong enough. No matter what, this World Cup has shown that the powers are still within the Southern Hemisphere. Even though, yes, innovation might be in the North, the powers are still in the Southern Hemisphere with the All Blacks and South Africans.
Kawataka and Obi, who would have ever thought that Foster his campaign was successful and get to grand final?
Oh, a lot of people counted him off, at the beginning, but you know what? Mental resilience.
I mean, if he was to win this one, right, he would go down, I think, as the most, one of the most, you wouldn't say lucky, but the most tactical coaches out there, right, to be, almost knighthood, right, level, because of the team that he's got, labeled as one of the worst All Black team, worst winning record, whatever, but somehow, in that, something that we didn't see, we only look at the scoreboard, but something that the players saw, right? You'll remember that game in South Africa where they lost, and all of them came out. The leading the leaders of the team came out and backed their coach. They said they still wanted Foster, right? So that's one of the reasons why he kept his job. Even though they came up, yes, they won, and then they came here in Christchurch of all places and lost to Argentina, right? But he kept his job because why? The players still believe in him. He's still got the changing room. You know what I mean? And if the players are willing to put their body on the line for him, then look at the results. They're showing it now.
It's similar to the Contigu podcast you're going. Who would have thought that?
Yeah, now we have new haircuts, and we're getting better.
And a bit of white hair.
So just quickly, Special K, who's going to win this week? South Africa or New Zealand? What's your pick?
This is going to be the first ever that I'm going to say to you. I don't know.
No.
You do not know.
No, you
know why? But what I do know, Obi, is that this is going to be the game for the ages. It's going to be a titanic struggle. It's going to be beyond words. It's absolutely going to be on fire, this game. And I'm not going to say
it's just as simple as picking a team. Very simple. It's like picking a cereal, your favorite cereal.
I'm going to bypass that question. Kawataka, go ahead, man. You're brave enough to call it. You're brave enough to call it.
Look, I'm going to be brave about this. Maybe foolish about it as well. But I'm going to... If there's one Achilles heel that the South Africans have, it's the All Blacks. Right? I think there's one team that South Africans could play any team and they'll be confident. The only one team that they have doubts, if there's any little bit of doubts, right?
Kawataka, after
beating the All Blacks.
After beating who? Look at that track that you just told us.
Yes.
They beaten who?
Hey.
They're basically beating the top 4 teams.
Ireland.
Special K, your tennis finish. Your tennis finish. You didn't pick a team. Keep going, Kawataka.
No, I agree. I agree with Special K here that, look, yes, even though they've gone through that, there'll always be that doubt in their minds about the All Blacks.
Do you think New Zealand has the same?
I think the All Blacks
have the same thing?
Due to the fact that they have got more, I think they've got more energy and they'll be a lot more fresher. I think that the All Blacks are going to win this one. So, yeah. Now, having said that, I would say 60% All Blacks, 40% South Africa.
Can't have percentage, brother. That's only one team, mate.
This could be your last podcast, Kawataka.
Oh no.
I'm going with I'm going with Russy on this one. So I'm staying with South Africa this time.
Oh, big call, mate. Big call.
I just believe it's going to be a battle of the forwards.
Oh, yes.
And if South Africa start off and they bully the New Zealand forwards, I think they'll won the battle through the forwards. I know that New Zealand's got a better backline than they do in South Africa, but I think South Africa got the experience that they needed. Yeah, because I think South Africa's backline has been there for a while. Some of them has played their third World Cup now. Yeah, even the forwards are they're amazing, and it's just interesting to see what Russy is going to do with his interchange as well. And it'll be interesting. Like everyone's eyes.
So who's the better coach?
No, we're talking
That's
about
going to be part of the equation. Who's the better coach, Foster or Russy?
Russy, I think, has been involved in a lot of games involving World Cup so far compared to who? Foster.
Remember, Foster has been in the system for a long time.
Yeah, he's been in the system, but Russy has been in like the face of South African rugby for how long? More than 10 years.
Can I ask you a personal question, Obi? Have you ever coached any sort of sport in the world in your
primary
school?
Life? Primary school.
Okay, that's marbles. That's not counted. Tavataka?
Look, for me, judging by the stats, I think Russy, right? Russy is the better coach. Again,
forward pack. Let's go forward pack.
Yes, so forward pack. I think South Africa's got the more stronger forward pack. If they know how to use that well, and that's my point with Russy. Russy knows how to use his forward pack well, right? In the back line, I think the All Blacks have a better back line, right? I think that the South African back line are very opportunistic. You look at that game against France, right? 2 kicks, right? From drop ball kicks, right? So they haven't actually sort of had that cohesion. And that is my worry about the South Africans, is that they're making a lot of mistakes, right? That the bench are coming on to cover up. And I don't know if that's enough to get away with against the All Blacks. If the All Blacks are what we say they are now, you know, they have a better chance because they're all on, 100% on. They're more cohesive now. It just seems that the South Africans are doing too many mistakes, you know, at that level for me to stay with the All Blacks. So that's why I think the All Blacks are going to win. And Russy has a way. And look, Russy knows how to win ugly. British Irish Lions, for example, the tour to South Africa, right? They just brought their team together and they just, you know, without much preparation, they won ugly, right? They beat the British Irish Lions, okay? That's a hard feat in itself, all right, in this modern age, especially with the Irish being the #1 team in the world. So on the mental side, Russy has got that down, okay? I think this game is for the All Blacks to lose. Forget about Twickenham. Twickenham was just a blip, right? Now, of course, Russy might have learned a few things from there, okay? But All Blacks didn't have Retallick and Frizzell, to bolster that pack. And that was just a warm-up game. But like I said, I think the All Blacks, if they get everything right, you know, if they just continue on it's the mental side for me. I feel like the All Blacks. If the All Blacks start making mistakes in the first 15 to 20 minutes, 15 minutes of the game, if you start seeing them making mistakes, then I think South Africa is going to win it.
Yeah, no, game over.
Yeah, game over. But if South Africa start making mistakes in the first 15, 20 minutes, I think that they still have enough to get them to the end. As
it was shown by Twickenham, as shown by the against England.
Yeah. So what a game we're about to witness! I just cannot wait. What about the ref? What do you think? How do you think the ref, his first ever final? All right.
I was watching the podcast this week. A New Zealand podcast, the New Zealand broadcasters are worried about the ref. They are concerned that the ref is used to South African style of games, like the Northern Hemisphere style of game, which involves structured games, kicks, more forward play. He is not used to the way that New Zealand play running rugby games. So I saw Kurt Owens, who's this, Jeff Wilson, all worried about the ref. And I'm like, man, if you're going to play a good game, forget about the ref. You know, they're already wanting to the ref already before the game is even started.
Before you jump to that conclusion, think about the Fijian games. Okay, the ref is a critical part of this. Doesn't matter, and refs make mistakes.
You have 80 minutes. You have 80 minutes, and if you don't use your brain, like if you're not supposed to come from the side, you come from the side. What do you expect?
But pressure games. I'm just saying, pressure games.
So I'll switch him
people do things.
I'll switch him that, Obi.
But the difference with McCoy is he knew the rules. He actually went to school and studied the rule book, and he pushes the edge because he knows what he can do. But in games like this,
I'll add to that, Obi, because I think he studied the handbook, but also he studies the referees. And I think in the same way that you're saying it, New Zealand have a better understanding of referee management. I'm going to put it out there.
Right. Okay.
How you connect with the referee, how you talk to them, in what I think Sam Kane has knows a little bit more.
Sort of mastered it, sort of, yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, I hope we all gonna enjoy the game this week because I will.
Well, just so that everybody knows who the ref is, it's Wayne Barnes, right?
Yeah.
And by the way, Barnesy, you owe us one. You remember that forward pass in Cardiff, All Blacks France?
I
had to be on your bad side, Kawataka. You never forget.
I think Kawataka did.
Yeah, it's already.
I think Kawataka that forward pass has been cancelled because he has apologized for it.
Hey, did I just hope that South Africans aren't. I feel sorry for Wayne Barnes. He might be getting some death threats.
He's not allowed to check his social media until after the game.
Those South African fans are crazy, man.
Yeah. But man, we're really excited for the game this week. We again, I in saying that I want South Africa to win, I don't really care who wins because they're both Southern Hemisphere teams.
Right.
Like, as long as one of the teams in the Southern Hemisphere wins this game, I'm happy. But my pick is going to be South Africa for this one.
Man, but you're wearing an All Black jersey, dude.
That's the only clean jersey I had. I've won all this in the podcast. They're all dirty at the back.
I've noticed that all the jerseys that you wear, they lose. You wore the Fijian jersey, they lost. You wore the Tongan jersey, they lost. What else they lost? You wore the Portugal.
Are you making a very special prediction there, Special K, that New Zealand's going to lose? Is that what you just said?
Oh, no. Come on, man. Don't sit on the fence, mate.
You know what? All my
Get off that fence. Get off the fence.
all my predictions, all of them 100% so far.
Yeah, actually, he's right. He's right, Obi. He's right. He's got 100%.
So here's my prediction, guys.
No, because his prediction is always going to be, I'm not going to comment on this game. Get me out of this game. I can't make any decision.
The All Blacks will
here it is.
beat South Africa by a drop kick.
Oh, there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it first right here.
After the first podcast, you said Ireland's going to win the World Cup, eh?
That's the next World Cup.
Oh, okay. Well, I just want to say all the best to Sexton, Happy retirement for Sexton.
Don't miss the flight home.
Don't miss the flight home. Hey, boys, it's been really good chatting with you guys. We hope that we'll enjoy the game this week. And to our listeners out there, thank you very much for tuning in and hear our very dry, dead jokes.
Don't worry about subscribing. Don't worry, we don't need subscription. Don't worry.
Just watch it. Just watch it. But we'll catch up again next week to do a review on the World Cup, and hopefully someone will be buying us lunch next week. Okay.
Okay.
Take care.
All right. Go the All Blacks.